I'll begin the news this hour and to tell you that Justice Liman of Federal High Court has reportedly granted an expedite order stopping Governor Abba Yusuf-led Kano State Government from reinstating Emir Muhammadu Sanusi II. The suit against reinstating of Sanusi was filed by one Sarkin, Dawaki, Aminu, Babba-Dan'Agundi. Justice Liman granted leave to the plaintiff applicant to issue and serve their concurrent originating motion, as well as all other court processes on the 6th defendant IGP in FCT Abuja and outside the jurisdiction of the Honorable Court. The parties were ordered to maintain status quo and ante the passage and assent of the bill into pending the hearing of the fundamental rights application. The judge adjourned the case to 3rd June 2024 for hearing of the fundamental rights application. Earlier, Muhammadu Sanusi II, who was disposed as the Emir of Kano, was reinstated to the throne by the Governor Abba Yusuf of Kano State. Now, this decision followed the Kano State House of Assembly's resolution to dethrone the current emir and also dismantle the 4 new emirates in the state established under a controversial 2019 law. The restructuring of the Kano Emirate is seen as a political maneuver to diminish the influence of then Emir Sanusi II, a vocal critic of the former Governor Abdullahi Ganduje administration. Now, the creation of the new emirates fragmented the authority of the old Kano Emirate Council, diluting its power and influence. And now to discuss this further, I'm being joined by Bring Back Our Sanusi convener and chairman SLS Loyalist Association, Malami Ibrahim. Many thanks for coming on. Let's get started, shall we? 4 years after yet another political maneuvering, but this time leading to a reinstatement, the governor says it is in keeping a campaign promise to the people. What are your thoughts so far?
I beg your pardon. Good morning. My name is Malami Ibrahim. Don't take political maneuvering. It's not maneuvering. I'm telling you, this is the right thing that Kano State Government did. Muhammadu Sanusi, our royal father, has been dethroned illegally. And Alhamdulillah, today he has been reinstated legally by the Kano State House of Assembly, not by the government of Kano State.
Malami, let me ask again, what are your thoughts with all that's going on? There's another political maneuvering. Now they've reinstated, it's leading to another reinstatement. The governor says that it's keeping a campaign promise that he made. What are your thoughts, given that you're one of the loyalists of Sanusi?
Actually, I'm loyal to Muhammadu Sanusi, our royal father, and also 75% of the people of Kano State voted for Abba because of his promise that he made, that he will reinstate Muhammadu Sanusi and the position of 5 emirates that have been created illegally and by anarchist way from Ganduje. So here in Kano, there is peace. Everybody saw yesterday, you see his face, he's very glad and happy, taking everybody's hand, congratulating each other, because that's why we voted for Abba, 75% of us.
And now the Deputy Speaker, Muhammad Buntu, he explained that repealing the law would revive the lost glory of Kano as a division of Kano Emirates to 5, reduced the capacity and dignity of the state at national level. Could you help clarify if there were other legal ground and how valid it is?
Yeah, historically and culturally, we don't have any other Emirate in Kano for more than 1,200 years, besides Kano Emirate only. The rest, we can call them a genius Emirate, but not to be given a first position as we have 5 Emirates in the previous government. Never done like that, and the first time we had it from
We seem to have lost Malami there, but we'll try to bring up that conversation back on. But away from that, about 6 cabinet ministers have presented their performance scorecard to Nigerians as part of the May 29th first-year anniversary celebration of the current administration. The ministers from the Federal Capital Territory Administration, Youth Development, Steel Development, Petroleum Resources for Oil, Defense and Solid Minerals took time to reel the achievements of the renewed hope agenda in their ministries. Ahmadi reports.
In attendance were several cabinet ministers as part of the May 29th first-year anniversary celebration.
We are here gathered today as part of the sectoral press briefings, the first, of course, of its kind that this administration has instituted, so that Nigerians will hear firsthand what the leaders are doing for them and have the opportunity to also interrogate some of those policies and programs that need to be carried.
The ministers of FCT, Youth Development, and Steel Development first gave their scorecard.
The FCT administration was assigned presidential priorities 5 and 6 out of the 9 high-impact deliverables. Were assigned 5 and 6. Priority 5 has to do with enhanced infrastructure and transportation as enablers of growth. And in this case, you talk about accelerate the execution of all ongoing projects, fast-track the completion of various road and infrastructure projects.
Our mission as a ministry, our expectations are clear, even though very ambitious. We aim to create an enabling environment for young people to thrive in various sectors that foster entrepreneurship, provide access to capital resources to enhance skills development, and to ensure the holistic development of young people.
We are at the final stages of raising about 35 or over 35 billion naira from a local financial institution, which is around $25 million, to be able to restart the light section mill of the complex so that we can produce iron rods. That light section mill has a capacity to produce up to 400,000 metric tons of iron rods per annum.
This was followed by the ministers of Petroleum Resources for Oil, Defense and Solid Minerals Development.
At the time we took hold of office, we were assigned into the Ministry of Petroleum. We were doing about 1 million barrels per day. But today, I'm proud to announce to you that we're doing approximately 1.7 million barrels per day.
We were able to neutralize more than 9,300 bandits and insurgents. We have neutralized no less than 20 commanders that command armies of insurgents and terrorists.
In the year 2024 budget proposal that we submitted, we put about 200 billion. We asked for 200 billion for exploration, and that is data gathering. But because of the paucity of funds generally across board, we couldn't get anything anywhere near that at all. So, in our own lexicology, there is nothing like impossibility. So we put our own creative endeavor into motion. And we are adopting other strategies to secure funding, one of which is a PPP arrangement.
The scorecard series is expected to continue on May the 24th. In Abuja for News Central, I am Ahmadi.
Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has directed a total and comprehensive review of the recently announced governing boards of tertiary institutions before the inauguration and retreat being planned for the nominees. The Ministry of Education had last week released of governing councils for 111 federal tertiary institutions in the country. The list contained names of technocrats, politicians, and traditional rulers for 50 universities, 37 polytechnics, and 24 colleges of education. Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Education, Didi Esther Wilson Jack, who released a statement containing the list, had stated that inauguration and retreat of the councils would hold on May 30th and 31st, 2024. But the Academic Staff Union of Universities, Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, among others, rejected the list and demanded a review. A bill seeking to make provision for Nigeria to revert to its old national anthem has scaled through second reading at the Senate. The bill, sponsored by the leader of the Senate, Okpeyemi Bamidele, enjoys overwhelming support from the lawmakers. It has been referred to the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters to report back to the House in 2 weeks. The lawmakers, who appeared unanimous in support of the bill, argued that it would promote better symbol for unity, peace and prosperity compared to the current one. After a closed-door session to debate on the bill, the lawmakers asserted that the current national anthem is a product of the military junta decreed by the military and therefore should be discarded. The Minister of Works, David Umahi, on Thursday held a stakeholders meeting to address compensation and environmental issues regarding the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway project. Now, this is the third stakeholders meeting being held since the announcement of the project after some demolitions were carried out. News Central's Bettina Unweli reports.
The third stakeholders meeting for the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway was a gathering of traditional leaders, legal practitioners, and affected business owners, all seeking succor from the government after the recent demolitions carried out to pave the way for the construction of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway.
I've been to many countries in Africa here, and they have coastal roads. But in Nigeria, of course, things takes forever. Now we have a situation where people already built on the gazetted coastal road, and you have existing communities that have customary ownership to that area, and the federal government wants to take a road across their community. It now brings an issue of law, whether the customary rights of the people is higher than the statutory rights that the federal government has. As I speak now, we have a bulldozer on our fence. And our clubhouse, we started developing it 4 years ago. We just commissioned it this year. So we are not against the project, clearly, as good citizens, as a good corporate citizens that we are. What we are requesting is that we are giving more time to actually rig down the equipment for the huge investments we've made on the property today.
This project is time-bound, and some of the monies, borrowed. And when you borrow money, you don't deploy it, then you are paying interest, and it's not good for us. And also for those who doubted the possibility of constructing this road, we want to prove them wrong.
Minister of Works, David Umahi, announced that they will be diverting away from the proposed new alignment that would have destroyed ancestral lands and possibly affected submarine cables.
Put human face in the alignment or realignment as Mr. President directed. We've taken hard decisions, and we're happy that our decisions have human face. But we've always said that to make an omelette, you have to break an egg. To the glory of God, to sovereignty and to Africa, Okwaja community, we are diverting completely from the new alignment, from the old alignment.
10 compensations were made, with the minister promising that more would follow. However, the question running through the minds of those affected, including business owners and the indigents alike, is whether they would indeed be compensated, and at what time. In Lagos, for News Central, Bettina Unwili.
The People's Democratic Party in Abia State says its priority for welfare of the youth over pensions was the reason the party performed abysmally in 2023 general elections in the state. The state party vice chairman, publicity secretary of the party, Chief Ama Abraham, told journalists in Umuahia after the party's stakeholders meeting that the party has taken stock of all that transpired during the elections and accepted its mistake. He said the PDP remains the party to beat come 2027 in the state. Former governor of the state, Okezie Ikpeazu, and the state party chairman, Orwell Asiforo Okere, both talked tough on plans to win back the trust of the people.
Way going forward, because right now our greatest asset is to be together and to be fair to all concerned. This party will survive on our faith, on our residence, on our loyalty, not on our name.
So we have been able to determine a lot of things which is responsible, and we are proud to say we are learning from our mistakes. You understand? We are proud to say today Abia PDP is learning from the numerous mistakes we have made. And we are committed to make sure that in the days, weeks, and months ahead, that those mistakes will not be repeated. Because why government fail is when they fail to learn from the mistakes of yesterday.
Hey, welcome back. Now, earlier on, we brought you the news that about 6 cabinet ministers have presented the performance scorecard to Nigerians as part of the May 29th first-year anniversary celebration of the current administration. And the ministers from the federal, they are the ministers from the Federal Capital Territory Administration, the Youth Development, Steel Development, Petroleum Resources for Oil, Defense and Solid Minerals, and they all took time to reel the achievements of the Renewed Hope agenda in their ministries. And now joining us live in the studio to discuss this further is Razak Olokoba. He is a public affairs analyst and he joins me live. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you for doing this with us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's get started very quickly. You've seen the scorecard, I presume, but how do you assess the impact of the ministers on the economic growth and development within their respective ministries?
Very much. The president has been warned by us and many Nigerians at the beginning of his administration that he should not take a bullet for any of his ministers or head of agencies. In fact, he should demand for a roadmap so that Nigerians will know based on the roadmap of each appointee whether we are on the journey at all or how far we have gone. So, as far as Nigerians are concerned, they see all the ministers as committed and making an attempt to grapple with the challenges of office and as ministers. But we expect more from the Minister of Power. We expect more from the Minister of all of them put together. We expect more. And we understand that there's a 2-year gestation period that understandably we must give to each administration, particularly given all the things that Tinubu has inherited. But be that as it may, we want to see movement. We want to see an attempt from the ministers from what they have done. We will all read this report that they gave, and we will not miss one if they have not done well to tell Nigerians and the president that you have to remove and replace. That should be what public office should look like. They should not be indulged in any way. We will not take excuse, and that's part of the things that the president has done that has impressed me. Let Nigeria remove your hand. Don't be a pillar behind anybody. Let everybody stand on their own. Let them tell Nigerians what they have done. If we have to understand why you are moving at a slow pace based on what we have said, yes, of course, we'll give you more time. But it shows clearly that you have been warming the chair for 1 year. We will be part of the people that will say the minister should be removed. So Nigerians should not be lazy about reading this report. This is our country. And governance is a shared responsibility. Government must play their role. You must also play their role. Your own role is what we are doing here today.
Razak, with every job that you take, there's always a key performance indicators that is listed out here at the beginning, and it's the same with with the ministers, right? So can you compare the performance of the ministers against the key performance indicators established at the beginning of their tenure, and assess their progress in achieving, these targets that were set out from them at the beginning?
You see, when you want to come into office, your wish is always that every demand made by Nigerians, you want to achieve it. If you look at the attitude of all the presidents in Nigeria since 1999 till date, the look on their face during campaign and on the day of swearing in, it's not the look on their face after 5-6 months too, having gain access to what it takes to be the president of Nigeria. The same thing goes for the ministers. To generate power, we have enough gas, we have enough water, the wind, the sun, to work out modalities for generating power. If it is solar, we have enough. So also until they understand what it takes to give Nigerians power. So for us, and that is why we strongly recommend that there are things that are not the business of the federal government as such. As long as federal government continue to hold on to it, we continue to move at a slow pace. One of it is the question of the police, the security, the police. Give the security of each state back to their governors. Yes, the governor is doing well, making attempts, bringing back our girls that have been with the terrorists for so long, but it shouldn't have happened. And it will not happen if each state had been in control of their own state. The same thing goes for power. The power sector is sensitive and it requires more participation from the state. I know very well that the effort the president has put in ensuring that Dangote refinery is working. We see it clearly, and we commend him for doing that. But the speed and the permanent solution to us having power is when states take over that responsibility. The president is, the way he didn't indulge the ministers, it's not indulge the governors. So for the slow pace, we demand from the ministers to be more hasty, because we do a quarterly assessment of the ministers, and we know that they need to do more for the people. The economy is running, dollar is fluctuating, the pressure is on Nigerians. So it's very, very important and it's very, very key that the minister needs to estimate more. And for any of them that shows clearly that he lacks the capacity to do, don't wait for when Nigerians will be calling for your head to go. Go now. The president should not hesitate to remove and replace whoever that has not done well. And Nigerians, it's a shared responsibility. The driving seat does not belong to the president only. It belongs to all of us. He has compelled them to bring out their performance. Assess on your own too. Don't wait for anybody to tell you that someone has done well. And for any of them that has done well, we commend them. So that's going to inspire them to do
Razak, more. Many thanks for coming on. I appreciate you for doing this with us.
Thank you.
Razak Olokoba, he is a public affairs analyst and he joins us live today. We're going to a short break. Stay with us. The 3-Division General Court Martial of the Nigerian Army, Maxwell Kobe Cantonment, sitting in Jos, the Plateau State capital, has dismissed 6 convicted soldiers, demoted 1 in rank, and reprimanded another for various offenses against the Code of Conduct of the Nigerian Army. Now, this came to light at the judgment of the 8 convicted soldiers who erred in the course of performing their constitutional responsibilities. News Central's Chizoba Anyonwe was there and now reports.
Rising from the inauguration of this General Court-Martial in February this year, the President of the court promised that professionalism will be upheld to ensure justice is served. The court-martial was to bring to justice personnel that have erred, pleaded guilty, and convicted for various criminal offenses ranging from theft and sale of arms and ammunition, criminal conspiracy, and false documentation. Among the convicted soldiers is Warrant Officer Danladi Shagi on a 9-count charge, imprisoned for a total of 336 calendar months for stealing and selling of 3,870 rounds of 7.62mm special ammunition and one AK-47 rifle. He was also demoted in rank and will pay back a total sum of 5,035,000 naira to the 3 Division of the Nigerian Army, the cost of the ammunition he sold. President of the General Court Martial said all acts of the convicted soldiers were despicable and punishable.
The General Court Martial considered your action as a very despicable, inexcusable and inconsistent with service discipline, which you must be sanctioned. The court also listened and considered your remorseful plea in mitigation of sentence and your unprofessional conduct. Accordingly, the court considered the implication of your action on internal security within the country.
Both prosecuting and defense counsels were comfortable with the judgments.
On behalf of the defense, say thank you. I know the stress you're going through to come up with these judgments and sentences. We wish to appreciate you finally. Thank you very much, sir.
Pray that God Almighty continue to bless the Lord with more wisdom. Solomon, I appreciate your worship. You are most grateful, my Lord.
A date is yet to be fixed for the continuation of judgment of the remaining accused soldiers and one officer. In Just for News Central, Chizoba Anyowi.
A move to strengthen food security in Borno State, the Northeast Development Commission and the Chad Basin Development Authority have partnered to revitalize the Alo Dam in Maiduguri. This commitment came following a request by the Chad Basin Development Authority at the NEDC office in Maiduguri. News Center's Umaru Kirawa completes the report.
The Alo Dam, an important water source for irrigation and agricultural activities in the region, has faced years of neglect, hampering the area's ability to produce sufficient food to meet the needs of its population and beyond. During the visit by officials of Chad Basin Development Authority to Northeast Development Commission office in Maiduguri, the two organizations discussed strategies to breathe new life into the dam and ensure its efficient operations.
This multi-million project, after successful execution, will curtail flood disasters across the state.
The Chad Basin Development Authority also presented several requests to the Northeast Development Commission aimed at addressing the region's pressing needs.
We are requesting for the desilting and dredging of water channels of about 10 kilometers in Ghana and construction of dikes at strategic locations for both rain-fed and irrigation activities to boost food security.
The NEDC has committed substantial resources to the project with the aim of restoring the Alo Dam's capacity and enabling it to serve as a reliable source of water for farmers in the area.
We have a lot of areas we were able to collaborate. You just mentioned about the Alo Dam rehabilitation, which I think we have already awarded a contract.
The project is part of the NEDC's broader mandate to spearhead the development and rehabilitation of critical infrastructure in the Northeast.
Will involve the federal government, the state government, and ourselves to see how that place can be, especially power, can be resuscitated or rehabilitated. Because I was told if that place is put to use and functional, it can cater for the power need of not only Borno State but even some neighboring. We may give small bit to Yobe.
The partnership reflects a strategic approach to harnessing resources and expertise to overcome development barriers, with a focus on promoting sustainable water management practices and enhancing livelihoods in the Northeast. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission says it is ready to commence a trial of former Minister of Aviation Hadi Sirika. The EFCC made this known following the arraignment of the former minister and his brother before the FCT High Court on an amended 10-count charge bordering on contract fraud to the tune of about 19 billion naira. The former minister was granted bail by the trial judge, Justice Liman, and the case was adjourned to May the 28th and 29th for trial. Marvelous Obomanu tells us more.
At the Federal Capital Territory High Court, the former Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, and his brother, Ahmed Abubakar, were arraigned before Justice Suleiman Belgore to answer to an amended 10-count charge bordering on allegations of fraud to the tune of about 19 billion naira. This is coming less than a week after the anti-corruption agency arraigned the former minister alongside his daughter, Fatima, and her husband on charges of abuse of office in awarding contracts.
I like what EFCC is doing these days. They become more matured.
At the arraignment, the counsel to the former aviation minister sought the order of the court to grant him bail, as earlier granted by a sister court in Maitama with the same bail conditions. Counsel to the anti-graft agency, who did not object to the bail application, argued that both the former charge and the amended one are totally different.
The charge before this court is totally different from that other court. The one before the other court relates to some different defendants. The only common defendant is the first defendant, Hadi Sirika. The remaining defendants in this one are totally different from the remaining defendants in the sister charge. The transactions in this one are totally different from the transactions in the other one.
Counsel to the defendant, who said he is pleased with the outcome of the arraignment, expressed readiness to commence the trial of the former minister.
It went well. Our applications were granted, and as you witnessed in the court, the ruling was apt and was detailed. We can see the excitement on the part of the prosecution to proceed with their case. We're equally very ready to put our defense before the courts.
Having considered the bail application, both the prosecution and the defendant have expressed willingness to commence the trial, which will begin on the 28th and 29th of May. In Abuja, for News Central, Marvelous Obomanu.
Benin Republic has blocked border crossings to Niger Republic across the river between the neighbors on Thursday in an escalation of tensions since the military seized power in Niamey last July. Benin and Niger have engaged in increasing tit-for-tat accusations in recent weeks over the movement of goods, despite West African bloc ECOWAS in February lifting sanctions imposed on Niger's military rulers. Relations over the border are also complicated by a spillover from expanding jihadist conflicts in Niger and Burkina Faso that increasingly threaten Benin and its Gulf of Guinea neighbors, and that's Ghana and Togo. And on to South Africa, with the May 29th South African elections around the corner. Political analyst Sandile Uswana has given his take on what is expected to be one of the most consequential votes since Nelson Mandela's election in 1994. According to him, change is in the air, and he does not expect any of the parties to get the two-thirds majority needed to govern.
So in terms of who is going to win the election, the winner is usually 50 plus 1%. So there is nobody who is going to get 50 plus 1%, and there is nobody who's going to get a two-thirds majority. Today, the ANC is going to be at about in the 40s, probably early 40s. the new party, the MK party, probably around 10% to 13%, somewhere there. I see the EFF and the MK party more or less around the same percentage. That in any case accounts for 20% or more of the vote. If the ANC were to get 40% straight, it means the traditional ANC parties still have 60% of the popular support in South Africa, although they've broken into pieces.
Now watching news now on News Central TV. We go on a short break. Stay with us. Africa Cup winner Quadri Aruna is expected to lead a star-studded cast for the second edition of WTT Contender Lagos. Following the expiration of registration for the first WTT series in sub-Saharan Africa, the Nigerian is primed to make his first WTT series appearance on home soil, as this will also be a chance for the world number 19 to try to capture his very first WTT title, having not made a run beyond the quarter-final since 2022. Also among the cast is the Brazilian Hugo Calderano, who holds a hefty WTT series title collection and is the top seed heading to Lagos with 5 singles titles in the bag. West Ham star midfielder Mohamed Kudus has been named the Europa League Player of the Season. The Ghana international delivered remarkable performance throughout the 2023-24 Europa League campaign, playing a pivotal role for the Hammers, who reached the last 8. Kudus' most notable performance came during the round of 16 second leg against SC Freiburg, where he scored twice, including a stunning solo goal. The 23-year-old scored 5 goals in just 5 appearances, showcasing his exceptional talent and consistency. With an impressive average rating of 7.57, Kudus outperformed all other players in the competition, earning him the well-deserved title of Europa League Player of the Season. In addition to this accolade, he was also named in the Europa League Team of the Season. And still on football, Claudio Ranieri has announced that he will retire from club management, having helped Cagliari avoid relegation from Serie A. The 72-year-old has taken charge of 18 club sides and had a brief stint as Greece boss in a managerial career that spans almost 4 decades back to 1986. He's most famous for leading Leicester City to the Premier League title in 2015-2016, when the club were rated as 5,001 underdogs at the start of the campaign. Cagliari had already secured their Serie A status going into the last match in the dugout, a 3-2 home defeat by Fiorentina on Thursday. And on to tennis, as Novak Djokovic on Thursday booked his spot in the Geneva semi-finals, putting the world number 1 within 2 matches of his first title of 2024, days before his French Open title defense begins. Now, Djokovic saw off a first set challenge from Talon to win 7-5, 6-1 in 77 minutes at the Parc des Arts Vivers. Now, Gaspar, the Dutch, won number 27, was the 6th seed at the 28-man Geneva tournament, which serves as a final warm-up before next week's second Grand Slam of the season on the Paris clay. He had 3 set points against Djokovic in the first set. It was a bridge too far for him, who earlier on Thursday finished off his second round match with Denis Shapovalov, beating the Canadian 6-7, 7-9, 7-6, 7-4, 6-3. And that's all at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. The Federal High Court stops Kano government from reinstating Sanusi as Emir of Kano. President Tinubu orders review of tertiary institutions governing boards list after protest. And Republic of Benin closes river crossing with Niger Republic in escalating tensions. Now remember that you can send us your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number now showing on the screen. And to follow us on social media, we're at News Central TV. You can also watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Time channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Judith TV.